You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. I do want to show this video here. This was the video. Go to my. I'm gonna start it. Hold on. Go back to the beginning. All right. Go to my iPad, please. So this was the video today of the funeral of the general in Iran. This is not what Trump thought was gonna be his inauguration.
I was just thinking that. I was like, you know what? They kind
When I saw this video,
It's real, bro.
look at this.
That's amazing.
It's very concerning.
Okay, they ain't done. It's still going.
Wow. Jesus, this is going.
Wow.
That's insane.
So Derek, when you see, it's still going.
Still going.
It's still
It
going.
ain't doctored.
It's still going. This Derek,
Wow.
and I'm sure somebody. Let me be real clear. This is not, oh, you're siding with the Iranians over the United States. No. What this says is that if you see this kind of reaction for this kind of figure, I keep trying to explain to people that one of my issues in this country is that folk here don't read. Somebody asked the question, what can be done to have better relations with Iran? You can't understand Iran and the United States in 2019 if you don't confront and deal with Iran and the United States in 1953. If you don't deal with the fact that Mossadegh was a democratically elected leader in Iran. Anglo-Iranian Oil, now known as BP, he comes in and says, wait a minute, how is it our oil and we only getting 7% of the money? They get 93%. Iranian oil helped continue and built the economy of England. He says, yo, this ain't right. We need a larger cut. The Brits were afraid. If y'all want to understand this, read Stephen Kinder's book, Overthrow, where he breaks it all down. The United States says, oh, y'all afraid? We'll help y'all overthrow them. The United States, which was seen and beloved by Iranians, prior to 53, overthrows Mossadegh. We install a general. He don't work out. We throw him out. We put the Shah of Iran on. Train his paratroopers who terrorized that country. And then they raided our embassy in 1979. The problem in this country is that when we talk about Iran, we start with 79.
Of course.
But we don't start with 53.
Of course.
We don't understand is that if you were a 20-year-old man in 1953 and we overthrew that country, you were 46 in 79. You don't forget your country have a democratically elected leader going to a dictator that we helped put in power. And so I think for us to understand what's happening in the Middle East, Americans have got to step back and say, what role did the Dulles brothers play in conducting American foreign policy in the State Department and the CIA for decades? What role did that play in terms of what we're facing today, in terms of how the relations with these countries? That number of people, that should scare any American if you want to understand how they view this figure. Derek, then I'm going to go.
I was just going to say what you touched on, 53. The documentary I just did, energy is power. And that's what's going on with this right here. And so in order to understand what's happening to you, you have to go back and understand the history of this country. But you look at those people on this thing right here, we got a problem right now on our hands. It's a very serious situation, and I'm still looking at this administration. Y'all know I'm a conservative, but I'm looking at this administration right now as to why now? What was going on right now that we had to take this man out right now?
Impeachment.
Yes.
I'm looking for better details than just that right
Well,
now.
well, first of all, and Avis, look, the Iraqi legislature just voted to remove all U.S. troops.
Yep.
And we have to understand, you just can't go to somebody else's country and say, I ain't leaving. I ain't leaving. Like spoiled brat ass Trump, who said, oh, so they're going to tell us we got to go. They got to pay us for that base before we leave. That's not quite how that works.
Well, he's just asinine. But in terms of what brought this on, absolutely the impeachment. The very same day that this happened, earlier in the day, the unredacted version of an email that the White House had handed over in a very heavily redacted way was released, which showed that Trump himself ordered to put a hold on the funding for Ukraine. So it basically further implicated him in the Ukrainian controversy that led to his impeachment. That same day, this man was killed. You cannot tell, and you notice that since that happened, nobody has said anything about that email, have they? All the coverage has been about this. This has been, we know from the very beginning, two things about Trump. He lies like a rug. He's like at over 13,000 lies right now. So I don't know why anybody would leave anything coming out of his mouth, number one. And number two, we also know that everything that he does has to benefit him. That's how he operates. He doesn't give a damn about this country. He doesn't give a damn about those people whose lives are now imperiled because of his actions and who will definitely die. We've already had, individuals die in Nigeria on an American base in response to this. Oh, it's Kenya?
In Kenya.
And so this is just the beginning. Trust and believe it's just the beginning. He does not care about the lives. And this coward who did not go to Vietnam after 5 times of supposedly being drafted, claiming he has bone spurs, yet he's on a damn golf course every freaking weekend.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, well, Mr. Bone Spurs in chief, we know too, like I said, we know that he doesn't do anything unless it benefits him, and we know that he's a liar, which means that I do not believe any narrative that's coming out of this White House, and any journalistic institution that just robotically mimics and repeats what he says without challenging it is derelict in their duty as journalists in terms of really being committed to bringing the truth to the public.
Robert, they are a little confused over there. First off, today the Pentagon Chief of Staff resigned. Okay, not a minor detail in the middle of this here. Also, y'all gonna love this one here. So have you heard about this draft letter that was sent out about troops being pulled out of Iraq? Well, everybody was confused. What in the hell is going on? So one of the generals had to come out. First of all, went before reporters. They were like, okay, we don't know what you're talking about. Went back. Okay, we made some calls. All right, so here's what happened. So apparently this is the quote, that letter is a draft. It was a mistake. It should not have been released. Dude, it's the Keystone cops at the Pentagon on this whole deal. Trump literally is tweeting saying, hey, Congress, that's my official notification.
Well, we got a lot of things going here, and this is a point in time where those people who are history nerds in middle school, this is our time to shine. So let's understand and put a couple things in little boxes and then bring it all together. One, we can't take out the fact that November 10th, 2019, Iran announced they found 50 billion barrels of oil. That's very convenient. The people forget that when you announce that you found 50 billion barrels of oil, somehow the U.S. ships show up. I don't know how it happened. It's a coincidence. Don't know how, but it always just seems to happen when you find 50 billion.
Power.
And that would vault them ahead of the Saudi Arabians.
Yes, it would have. Not to mention, let's say box number 1. Box number 2, you have the confluence of cable news and deep state conspiracy theories when they actually have to govern. So President Trump, while he was running for office, talked about President Obama being so weak, delivering the pallets of cash money out of big planes to Iran before the Iran nuclear deal. What President Obama and the State Department and the international community understood was, you don't want it with the Persians. Alexander the Great found that out. The Ottomans found that out. The British found that out. So let's just like stop this war from happening. So let's stop them from getting nuclear weapons and keep stability in the region.
And also, the money that was given was
their money.
Their money.
So it wasn't like we gave the money out of the U.S. Treasury system. Go ahead.
But when you start talking in deep state conspiracies and internet chat rooms, you start thinking you can govern that way, and this is what you end up
Okay, hold on. But you left out one more thing.
That's a good point.
There's one more thing. Because of this, guess what has happened to oil prices?
Spiked.
But guess who that's benefited the most?
Oil companies.
No.
Who?
Russia.
Oh, of course.
Well,
How did I not figure that out?
There, let's get to box number 3.
Go ahead.
Box number 3 is there's been a Cold War going on in the Middle East for about 30 years now between Saudi Arabia and Iran. So stuck in the middle is Iraq. Remember the Iraq-Iran war in the 1980s. But because you have had this battle for hegemonic power between the Iranians and the Saudis, which have been playing out in smaller conflicts in Jordan and Lebanon and Syria and everywhere else, you have the United States, which has been funneling weapons to Saudi Arabia for decades now. There have been civilians, school buses, weddings killed with bombs that have Lockheed Martin and made in the United States of America on the side of them. Let's put this also in the context that while President Trump was running in 2015 and 2016, he talked about his strong business relationships with the Saudis. Yep. We have one of the first foreign trips he went on, he went to Saudi Arabia, the picture of him holding a saber with his hand on a glowing globe with the Saudi government. Let's also remember that the killing of Khashoggi last fall, that we allowed the Saudis to do that and get off scot-free. And now suddenly, we are about to go to war with their #1 rival in the region, right as Trump is about to put a hotel in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Yep. So we have this confluence of events all taking place at one time, which makes it seem like this conflict with Iran was inevitable. Let's understand this is not like the assassination or the killing of Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden, that was a killing under the War Powers Act of 1973, which gives the president the right to use emergency powers not within Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution in order to protect the vital national security interests of the United States. The killing of the Iranian general was a violation of this because he was a state actor. He was a general in a foreign military on another country's soil. That's different than a terrorist who's part of an organization. That's different than an individual. You cannot allow the president of the United States to sit in a gold-plated resort while eating ice cream and order death robots to kill foreign generals on foreign soil.
So you don't think he was a terrorist, though? A terrorist himself?
It doesn't matter. Because guess what? If the Iranians declared Mike Pence a terrorist tomorrow, does that mean they can send a death robot to kill him?
Exactly.
At what point?
Exactly
Okay, so my question though
because
is,
there's a constitutional mandate around it. It's not a point of opinion. It's Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. It's the War Powers Act of 1973. It's the authorization of use of military force from 2002.
Which you're trying to change right now.
Yeah, well, there are legal frameworks around this to prevent an individual from being able to sink the entire nation into a war. Remember, the reason America became a country is because King George squandered and got England into the 7 Years' War, which nearly bankrupted the country, which allowed for the United States to rise up after the French and Indian War. The framers of the Constitution did not want to put the power into one man's hand to literally bankrupt and destroy an empire, and that's what we have right now because President Trump believes he can flout the Constitution. We have, in every metric, said to President Trump, the Constitution does not apply to you. You don't have to follow Congress. You don't have to follow the Senate. You don't have to follow the courts. You can do whatever you feel like, and when Republicans are willing to go away from their constitutional conservative principles in order to simply have tax cuts, I think that's why we get to the point we're at currently.
But the thing that, to your point, Derek, is this guy good job, Robert.
That was a mic drop moment. I'm sorry.
He said history nerds having a moment.
I'm like, okay, bro.
But here's the piece. But to your point, is this guy a terrorist? Yes. But when there's a reason why President Bush and President Trump, President Bush and President Obama didn't take him out. Mm-hmm. Because you understand, you sit back and say, you have, first of all, you ask somebody in the room, and you actually ask a number of people in the room, what will be the repercussions of this action? That's the piece. So what do we now have? Iran says, so Trump comes in, the Iran nuclear deal is awful. Bad for Obama. First of all, there were other countries who also were part of the negotiating that wasn't just the United States. Okay? Prevented them for getting a nuclear weapon for at least 15 years. Okay? You can be pissed off with, we gave them $1 billion or how much it was. It kept them for 15 years. The whole point of that is 10 years later, you negotiate another deal to keep them from getting a nuclear weapon. His action right here, they go, y'all can kiss our ass. We ain't complying with nothing beginning right now.
That's what they said.
But so you say the deal was bad, so you think they're gonna come to the table and negotiate a harsher deal? Oh, the economic penalties we've had against them.
Sanctions.
Ain't the first time they've had sanctions against them. This man has no idea. Not just about next year, not next month. He don't even know about tomorrow. And that's the fundamental problem you have. And that's why, and I love this one too now. I love how the Trump people now swear by the intelligence community.
Oh, yeah. Of course. They're the best.
The same one he been trashing on Russia and interference. Now they love him.
Yeah. This.
Folk better be scared because you do not have a stable person leading. I just don't think you do.
Well, we also have to think about the butterfly effect of foreign policy. So let's think about it this way. 1945, 2 atomic bombs get dropped on Japan. Why? Because in 1914, a Serbian shot the Archduke of Austria. So do you think we... Did you?
I thought I was a history nerd. Apparently, I'm not.
Yeah. So
that's what started World War I.
The assassination of Archduke Ferdinand in Austria in a car by a Serbian separatist is what kicked off World War I.
Mm-hmm.
World War II was a continuation of that with a short armistice in the middle. As a result of World War II, we had the atomic age, we had Operation Paperclip. We ended up on the moon because a Serbian killed an Austrian.
One dude.
One dude.
Killed
an
archbishop.
Because we have no idea what the murder of this one general might butterfly into, and the fact that we didn't think about it is the most horrifying aspect.
What's horrifying are these idiots. First of all, is Trump an idiot? Yes. Because the person who you make as your Secretary of Defense, a former Boeing lobbyist who don't know shit. Mm-hmm. So you fools go into a meeting. Let's see here. We're just going to give him the option. Take the general out. Because it's no one will ever do that. You're dealing with an idiot. So what does the idiot do? Oh, yeah, take him out. In a world where Mattis is not there.
Right. Kelly's
not there. All those folks who they said, I really do believe Mattis and Kelly have formed a pact. It was like, look, if this dumbass say this here, we ain't gonna do it. Right. We already have evidence where Trump gave orders and Mattis like, yeah, y'all gonna ignore that. Don't worry about that shit. We ain't doing that. We ain't following that order. These fools literally bring to him the idea, and he takes the most extreme one. Then they're like, oh my God, what did he do? Because you fools put it on the table. Yeah. Of course Trump was gonna take the most extreme. Because to your point, for 8 years, and this is why these white folks voted for him. Because for 8 years, all Fox News and all conservative talk radio and all conservative social media, we're weak. We're weak. No one respects us. Obama's weak. He's weak. He's weak. So fake-ass John Wayne comes along, and they say, yeah, that's it. Strong. We took out the Iranian general. Fool, you better figure out what's going to happen next. There's a reason why Bush and Obama didn't. And it's just crazy.
Last point.
Last comment
I want to make is we have to understand that unlike Osama bin Laden, unlike some of the other terrorists that have been taken out, general is a job.
Yes.
Before his body was cold, they had somebody else in that same job.
Okay, hold on. Also, Iran's a country.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
Osama bin Laden was over a band of people that was a loose federation that could get kicked out of a country, that could get killed by people who are over the country.
And he was also Saudi Arabian, and we love Saudi Arabia.
They're a country. They're a country with money. And to your point, go to my iPad. 53 billion barrels of oil found.
Damn.
And I had the date right.
53 billion. Okay, so they sit, right. So deal is, they ain't out fundraising. They are a nation. They are a nation. And the reality is, for those Americans who never understood, you had, when Saddam was nuts and we ain't like him, Iran kept his ass from going acting a fool.
Right.
Saddam kept Iran from going a fool. So to your point about taking out somebody, all of the drama in the Middle East today, first of all, we can take it back to the beginning. All the drama in the Middle East today also stems from our decision to invade Iraq on false pretenses of weapons of mass destruction. Because was Saddam an evil, evil man? Absolutely. But evil kept evil in line. Evil kept evil in line. Now, all of them kept them all in line. We toppled Saddam. We toppled Gaddafi. Now you don't know who the hell you dealing with, and now it's all up for grabs. Now you got the guy in Turkey who used to be a good guy, democratically elected, now a dictator and a thug. And the games he's playing, this is what happens when you make those decisions. And you're right. When Paul Bremer said, "Oh, get rid of the Iraqi National Guard," what the dude? What the hell did you just do? Because guess what? Now you had no security forces. Now you had, guess what? Militias who went, fill the vacuum. And so, y'all better pray. All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, y'all, as the marijuana momentum continues, the folks at 420 at marijuanastock.org have already reached more than half of their funding goal for the hemp CBD crowdfunding campaign. That's right. If you want to take advantage, you better do so real quick because it's not going to last much longer. I'm talking about the hemp plant, the good cousin of marijuana, with a much higher concentration of CBD. That means hemp gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Robert says thank you very much. Also, hemp farming is now legal in the U.S., creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. It's an investment opportunity for you. And the folks at 420 Real Estate, this is what their business model is. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed high-paying tenants. They are hemp CBD landlords. If you want to participate, you can do so for as little as $200 up to $10,000. Again, $200 up to $10,000. All you got to do is go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. You can get in the game and get in the game now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.